Liberty Leading the People is arguably Delacroix's most famous piece, and again, it's quite a large canvas. This is going to give it a lot of power when people stand in front of it and look at it. Now, the piece itself is based on the Parisian uprising in July of 1830 against Charles X. And let's start tearing this apart. In the center, we see the personification of liberty, or France, known as Mariana, who's leading the revolt. And she's wearing what's called a Phrygian cap. This is a symbol of freed slaves in ancient times. And it becomes symbolic because it shows that the people are slave to the monarch, and they're rising up against that monarch, thus freeing themselves and becoming freed slaves. It's a symbol that we also see from the French Revolution, so it's one that would have been known to the French quite well by this point. We also see her surrounded by Parisian character studies, the different people that you would come across in the streets of Paris, the young boy, the wealthy bourgeoisie merchant, and the freedman amongst others. And the freedman is going to be rather important. We are in 1830. They have abolished slavery, but that law has not quite come into effect yet. So you're seeing increasing numbers of former slaves taking part in these revolts. Of course, they're at the lowest end of society, even when they're freed. They're not much above where they were. And so they're going to take part, and that becomes a very powerful visual statement that this isn't a middle-class revolution. This is everyone taking part in the revolution. And once again, we have a carpet of bodies speaking to the struggle. These are people who have died on both sides, although we get a sense that they are revolutionaries. And the reason that you see them in different forms of clothing or lack thereof is because at the time, you would frequently find a dead body and take its clothes. Clothes are very, very expensive. And so those things are being reused. It's not some strange French symbolism. The towers of Notre Dame in the background rise and give us a specific location for the narrative. It tells us where this barricade exists and what exactly is happening. It tells us that this is, in fact, Paris. And that's important because in the middle of the 19th century, 1830, 1848, we have a series of liberal revolutions that will take place in numerous cities throughout Europe, including Berlin, Munich, Paris, and others. So, it's important to have that symbolism in place. And Mariana, you'll notice, is in fact topless. And that's kind of odd symbolism maybe, but she's a personification of France. Therefore, she is the mother to the people. The same way we would refer to Mother Earth or any other form. And we tend to see this toplessness not as a sexual element, but rather as a maternal one. That she feeds and takes care of her people. That's going to be really important symbolism in situations like this. That's also why we so frequently see topless women representing sort of larger personifications. For example, Lady Liberty on some forms early on would have been topless for similar reasons. We see images of Manifest Destiny as a lady, same idea. We see all sorts of images of women topless, and in these terms, in political terms, it's always referring to the role of the state taking care of the people as a mother takes care of her child.